tuning into TTV. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Communion Sunday. And so, I just question, are you a chipaholic like me? Like, I love potato chips. Like, I'm a savory person. I'm not a sweet person. I'm savory. So I like the crunch. I like the salty. I like the umami flavors, okay? And so, I'm trying to get away from eating chips because I live with somebody who's always bringing chips in, aka my son. So he's always buying chips and bringing them to the house. So I'm trying to move myself away from all of that and going back to what I'm used to having or what I'm used to doing. And so I'm decided I was gonna make some kale chips, and I figured I'd show you guys as well how to make it. So here's the recipe that I will be using. Okay, there we go. So I'll give you a moment. It's cup of raw cashews that are soaked for at least 4 hours, one red bell pepper, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, salt and pepper to taste, and then a bunch of kale. Okay? And then I'm gonna go through the process, but here it is, okay? And then you put it in a dehydrator. And I'm also going to give you the benefits as to why the kale chips are good for you, but I did not pull out my nutritional yeast. So let me do that. Got the seasonings, but forgot that one. So first things first is I have some cashews that have been soaking for the necessary amount of time, actually a little more. Okay, so I'm just going to give them a quick rinse. And we're going to put these in the blender. Instead of using a big, giant, bulky blender, I'm just going to use this NutriBullet knockoff. Okay? So we have our cup of cashews. Then we need a large bell pepper, which is what this is. And y'all, I've never cut it this way, but I'm going to do it because I see it on Instagram and the Facebook, TikToks and stuff all the time. So we're going to see if this actually works like they say it does. Okay. Not exactly, but okay. Maybe I should use my blender because I don't know if this is going to be big enough. It's a lot of bell pepper. I just didn't want to deal my food with the blender, but I think I need the blender. So let me switch that out. Okay, so I got that switched out to the blender because, like I said, this is going to be too much. So I'm using my Vitamix for this. So while I'm cutting this up, let me tell you a couple of the stuff that is good about kale. Why kale is such a superfood. So in 2.5 ounces, about a cup of kale, you have 3 grams of protein. Okay, so that's about a cup of kale, you have you have 3 grams of protein. Okay. In addition to that, it's high in vitamin C. It actually gives you 134% of your daily recommended dose of vitamin C. It helps lower your risk of heart disease. Has cancer-fighting ingredients and is very high in minerals. Like, it's a superfood for a reason, y'all. A superfood for a reason. Now, let me read these instructions off to you too, since I didn't type it down. But like I said, it's a cup of raw cashews, 1 large bell pepper, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, sea salt and pepper to taste, 2 bunches of organic kale. You clean and remove the stems from the kale, and I'm going to tell you why. Wash and tear into bite-sized pieces. You blend in a Vitamix all the ingredients except for the kale until it's smooth, and then you pour it over the kale and massage it evenly throughout the kale. You put it in a dehydrator at 105 degrees until crisp, which is about 12 hours. Now, if you do not have a dehydrator, that's okay. You can use your oven on the lowest setting. I know the lowest setting on mine is like 200. But if you crack the door open, I don't know if y'all can see this. Okay, yeah, you can. If you crack the door open, and what I usually do is I'll take a wooden spoon, put it in the door to keep it open, to keep it cracked. Okay, because you don't want it all the way open. You just want it a little bit cracked. So that's one way of doing it. Let me get my nutritional yeast in here. And it should blend up good because you soak the cashews, so they're really, really soft. So that's 1 and 2. If you're worried and concerned about your vitamin B12 intake, nutritional yeast is a source for that. Now, because it's me, I'm adding some extra seasonings to this. So I'm going to put some cayenne pepper in here because I like it. I just want just a little bit of smokiness, so I'm just going to do just that, just little dashes. I love garlic, so I put garlic in it. And then I'm going to do onion powder. But that's me because I like it. Now, if you have a Vitamix, you're going to need your temper thing, which is the one to get in there. You may need it, I should say. All right. And y'all see, just that quick. I didn't edit this part out. It's just that quick. Also why I use the Vitamix instead. So I just want to taste it. I forgot to put the salt in it, but I'm not going to use salt. I'm going to use Bragg's amino acids. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm watching my intake of salt, and amino acids have actually less salt in it. So I just put about a teaspoon in there. All right, now let's see if that, I'll just use this. If I need more. So I'm gonna put a little bit more because I can't hardly taste it. All right, so about 2 teaspoons. All right, let me go close my door because I see spammers. Okay, sorry about that. I saw some spammers next door, so I'm like, let me go and close my door. Okay, that's good. All right, so let me move that out the way. Take this. I know them people that come by like, you want to lower your electric bill? No, I don't. Leave me alone. So anyway. All right, so now we have our mix. I have a bowl here, and I'm going to show you 2 different ways too. So you might not like this mixture or want this. It's a cheesy taste to it, but it might not be cheesy to you or something to your liking. Sea salt. So I'm going to show you another way of doing it as well. Y'all, I know I be bad about this. I do this every week. I know I do this every week, but I'm going to show y'all the second way of doing it as well. So I'm going to take a bunch of this kale, clean and wash. That's why it's sitting here in the colander. Now you want to make sure that these stems are out. And the reason is because if you don't take these out, what happens is they end up thin like this part right here. And it's very brittle and it don't taste good. Okay? So you want to make sure you clean it and take that part out. And then just break it up in little pieces. Little bite-sized pieces if they big. And then if you forgot some stems, take them out. Because like I said, you're not going to like those. I just realized I'm glad my window closed because I straight said all of that out loud. Okay. I think for the most part, this is all good. Okay. So now you're just going to pour this out on it. And you want to get it all coated. I may have to add some more to it, some more kale. all that goodness out. And you got a nice fat from the cashews as well as some protein. You got the protein that's in the kale along with all the minerals and stuff, because I think I said it in one of the previous videos, but if you haven't seen it, the darker your green leafy vegetables are, the more minerals they have. Okay, the more nutrients they're going to have, and the better they're going to be for your body. All right, so we got to get messy. Get in here, get them nice and coated. Ooh, make it a mess. Get them nice and coated. It's another stem. You know, I don't throw my stems out. The dogs love it. So I give my kale stems to the dogs. I keep them in my refrigerator, and I give them to them as treats. I need a little more kale. Now what's going to happen is as this dehydrates, the reason it's going to crispen up is because it's going to dry out, and it's the cashews that's going to make it nice and crunchy. When I took my herbalist class, the lady in the class was the one who showed me how to use this. How to make this. She showed the class how to make it in one of her raw food classes. And that was kind of one of the problems I had with the raw food. To me, it was too many nuts in everything. Because even though nuts are good for you, too much of anything is going to be bad and disrupt your system and disrupt the balance in your system. So, like, even if you were to eat too much kale, it would probably have to be in tons and tons of it. But even if you were to eat too much kale, it would start to have a negative effect. Because you don't want to consume anything, too much of anything, more than what your body can handle and get out and process. And so eating all those nuts and stuff all the time, constantly, is not good for your body. Okay, so see how this is nice and coated? Y'all can see each piece is nice and coated. That's what you're looking for. You want all the pieces to be nice and coated. Some of them you may have to open up like I just did on that one. See, this one doesn't. So I'm going to open this up. All right, so that's good. Rinse my hands. All right, and now I have Teflon sheet. So this is a sheet for the actual dehydrator. And that's the noise you hear in the background. That's the dehydrator. So I'm going to put these on here. Just kind of spread them out. You want to make sure you can get the air in between. And you don't want to stack them too. You're trying to get them like with one single layer. So you don't want them on top of each other too much. Okay, so this is one tray. And then I'm probably going to come back tomorrow to show y'all the results because of the fact that this takes so long, which means it's going to be a 2-part video, which is why I do this in advance. Y'all like my singing? But I'm telling y'all, this is good. I took this to work one time. And if she on here, I'm going to let her put her own self out here if she watches this. But I took this to work one day. Actually, I have to use a little more kale. And one of the ladies I worked with loved it. And she was like, well, can I just have this whole bag? I'm like, okay, yeah, you can have the whole bag. Because it was a whole one of them gallon-sized lunch bags. You see how much is in here? So I just like to take some fresh kale and just kind of clean it up. But I went on to let her have a bag of it. The kale chips that I had made and that I brought, even though it's supposed to be my snack at work for the week. I went on to let her have it. This child ate the whole bag in one sitting, okay? One time, one sitting, all at once, okay? Y'all heard me say that it's good for your gut, right? Kale has a lot of fiber in it, which makes it really good for your gut health. Okay, so to sit back and eat that much kale at one time in one sitting, yeah, she was in the bathroom. That's why I say too much of anything is gonna cause you some problems. So you don't want to overdo it, okay? So don't go eating all of this in one sitting, okay? Because then you're gonna end up with some stomach issues like having diarrhea because it's gonna clean you out, okay? And I mean clean you out. Clean you out. So don't eat it all in one sitting. Okay, so let me put this in the dehydrator and grab another sheet. Okay, so I am back. All right, so I'm gonna take some additional kale because I wanted to show y'all the other way as well. I need to save some of this, y'all, for the dogs because I put this in the dog's food when I make it. Okay, same thing. You want to break it apart. Make sure there's no stems, bite-sized pieces. You'll probably even get a paper towel and dry this off some, which I think I will do. So just kind of dry it out as much as you can. Don't want it too wet because this one calls for a little oil. And again, if you're going to put this in the oven, put it in the lowest setting you possibly have for your oven. And then crack the door. You only need to crack it a little bit, not wide open. So I'm putting some oil on here because we want to be able to coat this. Okay. Now for this one, I am going to use a little bit of sea salt. I still might do a little smoke. Paprika. Not much because this stuff is strong. A little cayenne. Some pepper. Yes, I'm making this just like I would for a salad. Except we're not going to make a salad. We're making chips. And you want your chips seasoned. You can even do, like, if you have a barbecue seasoning, like barbecue potato chips, which I do have, but I'm not going for that. You can use that as well. And then you just coat it. You just want to make sure all of it is coated with the oil. And stop flipping it out the thing, out the bowl, but coat all of it with the oil. And then once you're confident you have everything coated in the oil and the seasonings on everything, I'm gonna take it and put it on the sheet and spread it out. Okay? Again, you want this to be as one layered as possible. All right, so I'm gonna get this in the dehydrator and then I'll be back once everything is done to show you what it looks like. All right, so I'm back. It didn't take 12 hours. It only took 6 hours, but they are done and I wanted to show you guys what they look like. So like here's one. This is the one with the cashews on it. Cashew mixture. A bit of focus. There we go. So that's what it looked like. And then the ones with just the oil on it, these are what they look like. I don't know if you can hear that. So they're nice and crunchy. They taste delicious. And if you can see, you see these little lines and stuff? That's what I was talking about. When you leave the stems on there, you'll have these fine lines like this, except for they're hard, they're pointy, and they can stick in your throat. So that's why I tell you take the stems off. Make sure you take the stems off. On the actual leaf, that doesn't really matter. It doesn't do anything. But when you're talking about the stem, it gets thin like that, and it doesn't feel good. But they have crunch, they have flavor, and even these, Have a bit of a cheesy, nutty flavor. But this this is my chip substitute. So this is what I'm gonna use instead of the chips. Um, they're delicious. I enjoy both of them. And this one, I can actually give to the dogs. So my ride or die, she likes to eat whatever I eat. She thinks she's supposed to have too. But this is something I can give her. Not a lot of it, but she can have a little bit, like maybe a couple of leaves, and then that's it. If you do decide to put cayenne pepper on here, just remember it is going to be more potent. So if you don't like spice, don't put the spice on there. But you can season it however you want. You could probably even do this with pecans or something else. It's just the nuts are what makes it crunchy. You know, because it covers it, it makes it firm and crunchy when you do it like this. If you are going to do this in your conventional oven, just make sure you are paying attention to it. I would check it after about 30 minutes, 20-30 minutes. I will start checking it. I've never done it in the oven, so this is why I'm telling you this. Dehydrator is never going to burn it. I can put it in there. All it's going to do is dry it up. It just might be more dry than I want. But when you're talking about the oven and you're dehydrating the oven, you do have that chance to burn something. So just keep an eye out. Just make sure it's drying out. Make sure it's not cooking too much. That's why you want to keep the stove cracked. But yeah, this is how you make kale chips. Very simple, very easy, and you can control the ingredients when you make it yourself. And it's a decent substitute. Well, not decent. It's a good substitute. Good, healthy substitute for regular potato chips or Doritos or all of that, because you can even put nacho seasonings on there. If you're not trying to be vegan, then you can put some nacho seasonings on here. You can season it up however you want. Lemon pepper, barbecue, what's some of the other ones? Sriracha, hot sauce, like buffalo. You can season this to make it whatever you want. So what I gave you was just the basics, just the basis to it. But you can season it however you want. The only thing I would suggest is, like I said, use some kind of nut with the crunchy ones, because that's going to give you, or not even a nut. You could probably get away with quinoa or something like that. But you need something on there just to help coat it and make it crunch, and to make the seasonings and stuff stick. Otherwise, if you're just doing something like I said, barbecue, lemon pepper, garlic parmesan, something like that, you can just do it regular. But anyway, y'all play around with it. But that's kale chips for you. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share, because if you get something out of it, chances are someone else will as well. Check out the My Young Living link down below. Check out some essential oils. And I love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.